Alright, in this scenario, you just got a citation for not coming to a complete stop at a posted intersection. There was no accident, there was no injury or property damage, there was no imminent risk to life or limb, just a plain rule infraction. Now, what takes place at the actual vehicle stop, I discuss in other videos. But here you are, you pull up and you have your copy of the citation, and you're going to go inside and they expect you to make a plea of guilty or not guilty, and that's the slick move, because by so doing you are granting the district court permission to hear the case. You're the one that creates standing for the court with your plea, but there's a third option. I talk about that in a different video. But to you, this is just a building. You go inside, there's offices, down the hall is the magistrate's courtroom. But let's take a look what goes on behind the scenes. That district office is actually a dock. See the water? Because it's governed under Admiralty Maritime Law. Let's say over here, on this small dock, that's where the clerical staff has their offices, the magistrate has his private office. But this bigger dock over here, what's over there? That is the magistrate's courtroom. It's a foreign vessel. It is a ship in dry dock. And when you enter upon this ship, the Constitution does not apply. This ship is under the control of a private corporation known as the Bar Association. The acronym BAR, in some circles, is the abbreviation for the British Accredited Registry. Now, getting back to the dock, said on this small dock over here is the magistrate's private office. He'll usually have his oath of office and his bond hanging on the wall. But now he took an oath to support and defend the Constitution. Well, it means a pinch of beans. Because when he's on that foreign vessel, when he's in his courtroom, the Constitution does not apply. Only corporate regulations. Now on this ship, this is like the typical design of the courtroom. See this fence here? That's the bar. This all has symbolic meaning. And the magistrate, he sits up here in a higher elevation. Why is that? Because in olden days, when there was the captain was going to hold court, he stood up on the poop deck, and this bar here represents the dividing line. So the accused and all the other shipmates would be standing down here. They're not allowed up on the poop deck. It was to another symbolic as far as class separation. Now in the magistrate's what you would consider a courtroom, they usually only have the one flag, and most of the time it is a fringe flag. That is Admiralty. That is not the flag of peace as defined in the U.S. Code. Now you'll see the flag without the fringe outside, because over here where the offices are, on the outside they'll have the United States flag without the fringe, but On this foreign vessel, they have the Admiralty flag because we're under Admiralty maritime law. Now there is court cases where judges try to explain away that that flag is that yellow fringe doesn't mean anything. Maybe not by itself, but when you take in the whole scope of what's going on, it sure does. This next picture. All these people down here, they represent all the employees of the ship. You have the magistrate's clerical staff, you have the sheriff and his deputies, the judges, police officers. These are all employees of the corporate foreign vessel that is not on land. Well, it's a ship in dry dock, but still it's a ship under control of a private corporation, the Bar Association. Now, before continuing, see, some people think that a flag in the room is just a pretty decoration, just a prop. No, that establishes the jurisdiction of the court, and that's Admiralty Maritime. And when you combine that flag with all the other symbolic images that are surround it, the magistrate's court room is a ship in dry dock. Now, you've had one of these inside your mind ever since you were a child. And you were led to believe that the enchanted forest and the real forest were one and the same. You cannot indistinguish the two. So when you go to district court, you think this is in the real forest, so to speak, but this is actually a facade of the enchanted forest. Because in legal land, that's a two-dimensional place. Continuing. Now, sometimes things are hidden in plain sight. What you're looking at is the county courthouse where I reside. And this building here is a dock on the port side of a river. And why is it the port side? Because the river flows from left to right. That makes this side of the bank, this is the port side, in relationship to the flow of water. On the grounds of that courthouse, they have two anchors as lawn ornaments and a ship's bell, and also they have a ship's mast that was repurposed as a flagpole. To the private corporation, the Bar Association, they like to hide things in plain sight with all this symbolic meaning. Now that citation, see, in legal land, a piece of paper is a vessel. It's a commercial instrument, and its cargo is information. This is why when you present that citation, they usually tear off a bottom piece. They claim that your paperwork is being filed, but that's just the cover story. Your paperwork is getting docked. That vessel, that piece of paper is getting docked, and then it gets a docket number, and then it becomes a document. It's all Admiralty Maritime. So, this is where you're at. In one analogy, it's either you have to take these off or put them on. And you have to, as I said, See what's going on behind the scenes. That magistrate's office, it's a dock. Like I said, over here is the clerical staff and his magistrate's private office. But over here, that is where the ship and dry dock. Now there's a slick move called making a notice of special appearance. Did you ever take notice in the courtroom when everybody is seated? Who's the last one usually to enter? The magistrate and his entourage. It's similar to if you ever go to a Catholic church when they're having Mass. Everybody's seated, and as soon as the priest walks in with his entourage, the altar boys, whatever, everybody stands up. Well, that standing up is not just an old ritual to show respect. That's when Scotty is beaming everybody on board. By you standing, you're accepting the jurisdiction of the court. And for any Catholics that are watching this, the Catholic Church, that's another ship and dry dock. It's governed under Admiralty Maritime Law, but that's for another video. So maybe now you'll comprehend what's really going on. When you make a notice of special appearance, you tell the magistrate, I don't want to go over here and have a hearing. We're going to go over here. I call this out slicking the slicksters. So before you go to the magistrate's office, take a little detour and you go up to the county courthouse, and in the pawnitary's office you can get a copy of the district magistrate's oath of office and his bond. He's insured for about $25,000. And you can collect on that. If you make a claim, if he makes a bad decision, you can collect. You can make money instead of them making money. Now, it could cost you, speaking of money, if you want a certified copy of his oath of office and bond, you have to pay for that. And I've found cases where the district magistrate, his paperwork is his oath of office and bond are not up to snuff. I've seen them where their bond is expired. That's like if your insurance expires, without insurance, if your insurance expires, you can't be operating a vehicle. Well, if his bond expires, he cannot hold court. So anyway, you go and you get a copy of certified copy of his oath of office and bond. And then when you go to the dock, you're standing over here on the left side. And when they're you said they want you to make a plea of guilty or not guilty. Well, you present a certified copy of the district magistrate's oath of office and bond, and you say you have a question. You have to say, if the magistrate here's my case, is he going to honor his oath? Because I have his oath of office and his bond, and I accept him for value. So my question is that is he going to honor his oath? Now, what's he going to say? No. He's not going to want to answer that question. He's going to have to say yes. So that means he's going to take a tantrum, and then he won't be able to hold court in his clubhouse. See, another thing too, before I forget, you know how they say, oh, you can't practice law without a license? That only pertains to this foreign vessel. This foreign vessel is under the control of a private corporation, the Bar Association, and only members of the Millionaires Club are allowed to present a claim, or what we call represent a client. However, if you are on this side of the dock, then If you have a friend that you trust his competency as far as knowing the law, that bullshit story that you cannot practice law without a license, it's only bullshit, because that only applies on the ship and dry dock. So maybe at this point, they might, magistrate might make a few phone calls and pressure the officer to just, withdraw the complaint, just to push it under the rug. And you never know, that might happen. But the magistrate, if you ask him, I says, if you hear my case, yeah, think about it. You go to the clerical staff and you say, is the magistrate in? I have a question for him. And you confront him face to face and say, sir, I said, if you hear my case, before I make a plea, if you hear my case, here you go, and you show him to him. I'm holding him in your hand. I have your oath of office and bond, certified copies, and I accept them for value. So my question is, if you hear my case, are you going to honor your oath? I said, what's he going to say? No. He's not going to want to answer the question. He'll do a dance trying to skirt around the question. Good, let them squirm for a while. Because this is all a scam, what they're doing. This is a scam. Well, this is some food for thought, as I call it. And until the next video. One last thing, I have a little bit of time left. My father was a school teacher. And he said something a long time ago that I never forgot. He said, whenever you're reading a book, he says, chew the meat and spit out the bones. Don't take everything at face value. Do your own research. Just don't blindly accept what's in a book. Check it out yourself. I don't expect anybody to blindly accept what I'm saying. Check it out for yourself. And if you feel comfortable and confident, then proceed.